Hi there, I'm John Waterhouse. Welcome to the original Science of Mind as taught by Barbara Waterhouse. This evening, Barbara is going to cover some wonderful principles that the science of mind teaches us. And I'm sure that you're going to enjoy your time with her and that something's going to touch your heart and give you something to think about. So, yeah, I know you're going to have a great class. But what we do with every class is we start with a spiritual mind treatment, and that's what I want to do right now. So, if you would join me by centering yourself, perhaps closing your eyes if that works, and knowing with me the truth of spirit, that there is only one presence and one power that dwells in, through, and as all things. It is right here, right now, wherever here and now is, God's in the midst of it. And that presence and power is powerful, is incredibly powerful. And that power is available to us to use, to create the lives that we so desire to have, to hold ourselves up in consciousness and to see the truth of who we are. And I know that this time spent with Barbara is a blessing to each one who joins her, and that all is well in this discovery process of the truth of all of us. And certain that this is so, grateful for it, grateful to know it and to live it. I simply let this be so in my life and in the lives of all those who share in this experience. And so it is. Yes. Have a great class. I'll see you at the end.
So do you have any questions about what we've talked about up until now? I don't want to keep, charging off with if there's questions. Was that a hand?
You heard me thinking.
No, I saw your hand go up.
Sue and I were having this conversation on Sunday morning about race consciousness, and whether it's mine or the race. But in the end, would you say that it doesn't matter because the answer is still to tell the truth about it?
What do you mean to tell the truth about it?
So that when a thought comes up, whether it's mine or race consciousness, that says, you're just, you're broken, you'll always be broken. Say the truth is, I'm wealthy, I have everything I need to tell it.
Right, so who cares where it came from if you're going to throw it out? Throw it out. If it says anything other, you are perfect, whole, complete, you are powerful and creative and amazing and wonderful. If there's any thought inside of you that is saying something less than that, throw it out. Throw it out. In that throwing out process, there might be some discussion about where it came from. If it's not going easily, if you throw it out and it comes back in, and you throw it out and it comes back in, sometimes you have to do some work on yourself to get it to stay out. And one of the things that I do is, where did that come from if it's going to help me to get rid of it? One of my mother's mantras to me when I was a child was, what's wrong with that child? Because I was not like everybody else. What's wrong with that child? I can still hear her. The old lady you guys saw was a different, maybe a walk-in, I don't know, different person. I know, she was a sweet little old lady.
I expected her to be 6 feet tall.
She was this little tiny thing. So when I internalize that and tell myself there's something wrong with me, something inherently wrong with me, that I don't fit in, I don't think like other people, I don't act like other people, I'm not like other people, and if I turn that against myself, it's helpful to me to say, well, that's what you heard when you were growing up, when you wanted to be the wild child. You know, when you threw your shoes out the car window and all of that stuff that you did, that's what you got. But when I think about it, I don't want to fit into the world's mediocrity. I don't want to fit in. So when that voice comes at me, there's something wrong with you, then I can say, no, 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 no. That's that old pattern, that's that old belief and I am not having it, I'm not taking it, I'm gonna throw this out and it's gonna stay out because I'm not opening the door to let it back in. So in those circumstances, it may be helpful to do a little self-analysis on yourself. If it's helpful to get rid of those old ideas that say, I could, I can't, I shouldn't, I mustn't, those kinds of things. And then to move into this idea that says, I love my moxie, I love my specialness, I love not being like other people. I don't want to be like other people. Other people are, for the most part, miserable. And I don't want to be like them. And I am willing to pay the price of not being like them and being different. I'm willing to pay that price. And then I get myself all back on the path, all feeling good and happy again. And then that sets the law in motion. But if I hang out with, I'm broken, I'm never going to be fixed, I'll never have enough, there's something wrong with me, and I just go, oh, turn entirely away from the condition, well, everything is just fine, I'm light and love, and I don't change the way I feel, or I haven't really changed the way I think, then that's not what he means by turn away from the condition. When Ernest is talking about turning away from the condition, he expects you to focus on something else and to focus on it all day, all night, for months at a time if you have to get yourself to change inside. This isn't just a cover it up, sweep it under the rug, BS kind of a philosophy. It is taking yourself on, having the will to carry through with your thought process to get you back on track where you want to be, to have the life you want to live. And sometimes it's just not that easy. I mean, have you ever been dumped? Have you ever been fired? Have you ever been left? That's an opportunity to have a lot of feelings come up. And people say, well, I just feel this way. No, you can change your feelings. And I'll grant you, you can feel that way for a little while, but if you just keep feeling that way, you're just going to create more of that. So that gives us an opportunity to look within and either say, I'm totally loved and supported by the universe. There is only love. And if that works, great. And if it doesn't, you may need to take yourself on. Ernest talks about two kinds of treatment. A realization and an argumentative. I've used the argumentative form of treatment a lot. And what that does is that if I can't go to God is, and I am, and so it is. If I can't go there, I need to get myself there. And sometimes I need to take myself on and say, well, that's a crock. Of course there's more than enough. You're just in a cash flow situation. It always works out. It is always going to work out. And if you set your sights high, you're going to get there. But if you stay down here, you're going to always be there. So get yourself up in consciousness, focus on what you want, and let's move. No, this is never going to be fine. I'm broken. I'm wrong. No, that's an old story. You have spent thousands of dollars in therapy to let go of that old belief. You have spent decades in metaphysics training yourself how to think. You do not have to stay there a moment longer. You can choose to think a new thought. You can set a new course. You can create your life. You're Barbara Waterhouse. You're fantastic. You've done it before. You're going to do it again. This is just a momentary synaptic firing that has old stuff to it. You do not need to stay here. You are supported by the entire universe. You have angels and guides that are dedicated just to you. You are loved and blessed over and over again, and I do that, and I do that, and I do that. Sometimes I do it out loud. People come up to me and say, how are you? I'm working on my head. I'm working on my head. I'm working on my head because I am not going to stay here. I will shift this, and I will stay with myself until I do. That's called an argumentative treatment. And by the time you're done, if you've done it well, God is. I am. And so it is. And that's when you're done. Jill.
I'm remembering in spiritual mind treatment, instead of just the 5 steps, I was taught at some point a middle step where you argue against like limitations, and you say something like, there is no truth to the idea or the belief.
Right,
that-
those are called denials.
That's
Denials, like when Ernest says, disease is neither person, place, nor thing. I love that. Disease is neither person, place, nor thing in my life. It has no substance. Poverty has no place in my life. And then you move into that positive affirmation. And what you do is you do anything you can to get yourself to, God is. I am. And so it is. And however that sounds, whatever words you use for that, that's the feeling. Whatever you can do to get yourself out of that old limited thinking that pops up at the darndest times, usually when you're stressed, usually when you're being challenged, and get yourself back on track, that's what you do. And stay with it until it shifts. Turn away from the condition does not mean sweep it under the rug, pretend that it's not there when it's right in your face. It means shifting the cause, shifting the energy. And if you need to get a practitioner, get a practitioner. Practitioners are great. You go see a practitioner and they're all, God is. You are. And so it is. And you get that. And you just get swept up in that. And then you're good. And maybe it lasts for a month or a week or a day or whatever. And when it's gone, call them back up again. And before you know it, you've made that shift with them, and they've actually helped you lift up into that different state of consciousness. But if you just feel like, well, there are these things that come up, and I'm not going to tell anybody because I'm a spiritual being. And so I'm not going to acknowledge that I have this constant negative barrage inside of me of this critical being that just I'm never going to be good enough for. I'm just going to pretend like it's not happening, and then I'm not going to do anything about it. Nothing's going to change. Not only do we not let it out of our mouth, we change the cause. We change the cause, and then we change the belief. Some of these beliefs you've had for decades. You've manifested them so thoroughly that anybody in their right mind would believe that's the way life is. How many people have I worked with? Let's just use generic stereotypes. Women who believe all men will hurt them. So, every man they connect with hurts them. Could have been a perfectly nice guy, but they make that guy hurt them. Or men, all women, I'm never good enough. And so every person they attract or connect with, they're never good enough. They're always being criticized. They always come up short. Now, anybody in their right mind would say, well, that's the way the world is. No, it isn't. We did that. And so if we've got that deep-seated belief that we've manifested over and over again, and you come to this class and I just say, well, think a different thought. It's not that easy. Sometimes you've got to get in your own face. Sometimes you have to be honest in that I made them do that. I found that with my first husband. I was shocked when I saw him with his second wife. He wasn't like that with me. She did that. She brought the good out of him. I brought the bad out of him. Because I was still busy having a relationship with my father. And so, of course, that's the way he had to be with me. But when he got with someone else, he could be a different way. I did that. When I realized that I bring that out of people, then I'm not so caught up in it. Well, all of these people are terrible. No, they're not. Anytime you use the word all, you know you've got something going on. All politicians, all men, all women, all dogs, whatever. Anytime you have the word all, you know that you have
Ambiguous mindset.
An ambiguous mindset, actually, it's not ambiguous, it's pretty clear. You have a belief system that is manifesting in your life and orchestrating the situation so perfectly that it looks flawless. It looks flawless. If you have a belief that there's not enough time, you'll hit every red light. It's amazing to me how powerful we are. And yet if we can shift that into a belief that we're always loved, we're always supported, life is great, then we will orchestrate that equally flawlessly. But if we have trouble, be honest with yourself and say, I'm having trouble going to that God is, I am, and all is well. So what do we need to do? Do we need to journal? Do we need to do some forgiveness work? Do we need to forgive ourselves for whatever it is we're feeling guilty about and feeling like it's appropriate to beat ourselves up? That's all a crock. We're God informed. We're love. Love to love to love to love. That's all that's going on. So what do we need to do? How do we need to work with ourselves to shift that energy so that what's going on up here plants the seeds of what we want to have down here? Jane.
One thing is to recognize you're doing something negative.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Awareness is the first step. That's why on the 5 points of power, the very first one is, I always pay attention. Pay attention. What happened here? Everything was going great. How did this happen? Now it's all gone to pot. What's going on? Let's back up here a little bit. Let me see. Yesterday, I was starting to go downhill. The day before, I got a call from an old friend who was rubbing my face and how well they're doing and how terrible I'm doing. And I bought into that. I'm not doing terrible. I'm doing great. I've set my life up exactly the way that I wanted so that I can build on this and grow in the direction that I want to grow. They may be doing well financially and on the outer, but I know for a fact they're doing terrible in their heart and their head. You know, get yourself out of there. I'm doing fine. I'm doing exactly what I want to do. I've got a lifestyle that supports me so that I can work on my head and manifest my dreams. And if it doesn't look that way right now, I'm not going to put myself down for it. I'm going to know that life totally supports me and I'm lifted up. And if you do that, you'll get back. You'll plant the seeds of the dreams that you want to live. And the only thing that life can do is bring them into form. That's what's so great about this part. In the book, it's a little complicated because it says it only reasons deductively. What? It can only say yes. How about that? The law can only say yes. You want to be happy. What is the phrase? Your wish is my command. I want to be miserable. Your wish is my command. I just got out of this neurotic, codependent, destructive relationship, and I want another neurotic, codependent, destructive relationship. I met this person. It was chemistry. I tell you, our eyes met across the room. I think this is my soulmate. Your wish is my command. Or you can work on your head. I think in 12-step programs they tell you after you get sober, don't date anybody for a year. Why? Because you're not ready. Your head is not screwed on straight. You work on yourself. Know that you're a wonderful person, that you deserve to be loved and supported, that everybody in your life has given you a gift. Nobody has ever hurt you. Nobody can ever take anything away from you. You do your forgiveness work. You forgive yourself. And then when your eyes meet across the crowded room, you've got healthy connecting with healthy. But this part, it'll go either way. It can't say, we've done that 3 times and you know how it ends up. If it's not pretty, it can't say, why don't you stop and think about this before you get behind the wheel of the car. It can't say that. All it says is, whatever you want, I will manifest for you. It is up to us to pay attention, to choose, and then to support ourselves in setting that law in motion in the direction that we want to go. And if you've got old beliefs that say, well, you can only go so far. That's not possible. You can't change the world. That's not possible. or you shouldn't do that, you know someone will find you out. If you've got those kinds of beliefs, whatever they are, you don't deserve it, you shouldn't have it, it'll never work, then it's your job to challenge those and do whatever it is you need to do to get your head into the place that says, I am God-informed, it is my spiritual job to be happy, to be wealthy, to be healthy, to be successful in this life. That is my job. Can you imagine whatever God is saying, colorful sunrises are impossible. I really shouldn't. Papa God told me I played too much with color, and I really need to just rein it in a little bit. So I think for the next millennium we'll have gray sunrises. It's ridiculous. There's an outer expansion, a growth of love and joy, of prosperity, health, and wholeness, and it is our job to manifest that. Your job in life, it is not to suffer or struggle. Remember last week we talked about God and the devil and evil and sin and punishment and all that stuff. It is our job to make manifest the glory of God. That's what Marianne Williamson said. That's what Nelson Mandela quoted in his inaugural address. It is our job to be all that we can be. I mean, that's what the Army said. It is our job to go for it. That's what we're supposed to do. And if there's anything in your head that says you shouldn't, you gotta take it on and say, what's up with that? I will no longer allow myself to be ruled by thoughts that want me to suffer, to struggle, and to be small. So if I will no longer allow myself to do that, what am I willing to do to not do that? Am I willing to do 1,000 affirmations a day? Am I willing to do forgiveness work? Am I willing to bless and praise everybody and everything? Am I willing to look at my part in the story of my life? Oh, they did me wrong. Well, what did you do? I did nothing. I was a victim. No, you weren't. You were a full participant. No victims, only volunteers. What did you do? Well, I took a perfectly nice person and beat them into the ground until the only thing they could do for their survival was to leave me. Ah, okay. That's what you did. Now are you ready to let that go? Are you ready to forgive yourself for that? Are you ready to forgive them for that and move on? What are you willing to do to not allow those old thoughts to control you, to manipulate you, to decide what you get and what you don't get? It's all up to you. Nobody can do it for you. Nobody can stop you from doing it for yourself. No questions? This is important stuff. No questions? Is it just a lot?
As you talk with memory.
Come on.
Mine wasn't so much a question as it is an observation. You know, earlier you talked about belief systems, and we have these belief systems that don't serve us. But sometimes we have these belief systems where we go out and look at it, oh, there's one over there that supports it. And they keep carrying that belief, thinking that's the way it is because I just saw that. And
Sure. We can create it, and then we see it, and then we use it to validate what we thought.
Right, you create your own demonstration.
Absolutely, we are self-fulfilling prophecies. We are walking self-fulfilling prophecies, and then we look at that and reinforce the belief system because we can see it, not realizing that everything is changing, always changing. Time and space is blinking in and out. You know, is it a wave, is it a particle, is it a wave, is it a particle, it's light, it's form, it's light, it's form. And all we get to do is pick how it shows back up in form. That's all. People can make themselves sick, they can make themselves well, they can make themselves poor, they can make themselves rich, they can make themselves miserable, they can make themselves joyous. It's all inside of us, it's all up to us. And the great thing about the way this law works, and I will say it again and again and again and again, it can't stop you. It can't save you, but it can't stop you. So there are a lot of people waiting for something outside of them to intervene in their life on their behalf between themselves and their experience, and there's no way that can happen. We are cause to our effects. We are cause to the conditions in our lives. The only thing life can do is take what we give to it, multiply it, and bring it back into our life. And when we get that, then we're at a point of choice. Remember, choice is at the top. We're at a point of choice. What are we going to do? Are we going to keep planting the seeds of misery and struggle? Or are we going to stop, be aware, do whatever work we need to do to plant something new? Because the soil is going to make it grow. The spiritual law will bring it into form. And so what I encourage you to do is to go for it. You know, can you imagine the farmer out there with the giant tractors and, okay, they're going to plant one seed. They have 1,000 acres. They're going to plant one seed. And that's it, okay, they're done. Go for it. If they said it was impossible, remember the impossible has to be possible. Go for it. If you want 1, go for 2, go for 10. If you want to just not be in pain, go for joy. Oh, I want to not have my hip hurt so much. Go for dancing. Well, I just want to be able to, you know, put more than $5 worth of gas in my car. Go for being a millionaire. I couldn't do that. Why not? Good question. Why not? Why can't you be overflowingly joy-filled? Why can't you love everybody? Why can't you awaken in the morning and see the colors so bright, be filled with energy, have your body bounce out of bed? Why can't you? Oh, well, I'm 35. Those days are gone. One of my heroes is Betty White.
Yes.
Betty White. You know, she's not going to let a day go by that she doesn't live.
That's right.
And Betty White. And because of that, she keeps living.
Mm-hmm.
So think about it. What self-imposed limitations have you put on yourself? And they're put on by you. You may have picked them up from your childhood, from school, from the past, from race consciousness. Somebody on the other side of the planet may have shot a thought form over and you grabbed it and took it. You may have picked it up, but you took it. What have you put on yourself? And do you like that? Do you want that? Do you want to keep it? Because if you don't, you are at choice. And whatever you need to do to shift that is your work. I don't care how deeply entrenched the belief system is, it's just a belief system. And when you let those, thank you for the word, dendrils, think a different thought long enough, affirmations over and over again, coming to the center, doing spiritual practice, reading books, listening to some of the things that Barbara and John say, they will pull apart, and then you can direct them to grow to a new thing that says anything is possible. Anything is possible. I was created to live life and live it abundantly. I am born in joy and I will have a happy day. If it is the last thing I do, I am going to have a happy day. And I'm going to have the best day ever. And yes, I have the audacity to have every day be the best day ever. People got mad at us when we started that. You can't have every day be the best day ever. I know why. In your life, do you only get one? Do you only get one best? Because I get every day. I get every day. We had people mad at us. So it's totally up to you. Are you willing to bust out of the mold of being the good girl, the good boy? I'm just going to play it safe. I don't want to make any waves. Yuck. Make some waves. Make some waves. Change the world. I love that Apple thing. Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the square pegs and the round holes, the ones who can think they can change, I'm really shrinking it, the ones who can think they can change the world because they do. You know, so be crazy, be out of it, be different, go up against that internal limitation that you placed on yourself, and it may bring some things up, and great. Throw them out with the trash. Yes, Shari.
Yes. Where does, I don't know how to say this. When I am manifesting what I want, what happens when someone else is manifesting what they want and we're colliding?
You live in completely different universes.
So what if I want Tom Brady, but he wants Angelina Jolie?
You don't want Tom Brady.
God, no.
You want somebody
Yes,
that
says
will
the
bring
Lord
to
being
your
right.
life what you think Tom Brady will.
Okay.
You want to be in the arms of your beloved. You want passion. You want energy. You want someone who's healthy and good looking and exciting. You want that. If Tom Brady was a jerk, you wouldn't want him.
Okay. So it's not that you want specifics, you want, I guess, a generality and the divine or the
Think about
spiritual
what you would
want.
feel like with Tom Brady. That's what you want. You want that feeling. You don't care what face is on there. You don't care what name is on there. You want that feeling. And that's what you go for.
Peyton Manning.
Dan wants Peyton. We never get the person anyway. You know, we never get the person anyway. We always get what we've put on the person.
There's a projection.
It's our projection on them. So if you're gonna project onto somebody, you might as well project what you want. I have the world's best husband. I have somebody that fills my heart. We both have the best day ever. We both have the best husbands ever. We don't live in a limited universe. So when I project onto John, I don't look at the outer things that he is or is not doing. I put on him everything that I want. I put on him the joy and laughter and clarity and being able to think, we think alike, you know? We can say part of a sentence and we got it. We can look at something and there's total communication happening there. So that's what I get from being in relationship to John, and I know for a fact that other people have been in relationship with John and they haven't gotten that at all. You know, there are people in the center who don't get that. But that's them, not him. There are people who don't think I'm amazing. They think I'm egotistical and pompous and have a big mouth and I'm controlling. That's them, that's not me. I'm freaking amazing. So we don't get that person anyway. Be aware of what you want and then give that out. Start looking at all the men in the world and go, Joe, you're just amazing. David, you are fantastic. Drew, wow, you're so cool. Then you put that out there and then that's what you're attracting into your experience. Jane.
When I was a kid, I was a very good writer, and I loved writing. And then one day, it all disappeared. All my writing, all my poems, all my stories. And since then, I just have never written.
I thought you picked up writing again.
Oh, yeah, I must have made it disappear, but I don't know how that happened. And
So just start writing again, Jane.
so angry.
It's still in there. Stop being angry, pick up a pen and start to write. It's in
Find the
there.
joy in writing.
Yeah, it's in there.
Well, I have a lot of joy
What?
without writing.
Good. Well, you know, you compare that with 5 years ago, and you, sitting in this class 5 years ago, would never have believed that that phrase would have come out of your mouth. I have a lot of joy without writing. Just, I have a lot of joy. That's a testament to the power of these classes.
But, yeah, I just,
Everything is in you. All you have to do is let it out. Everything is in you. All you have to do is let it out. And the way that I let it out is I see it all around me. I see it all around me. Every day I treat for you that you are prosperous, you are healthy, you are thriving. I treat for you. People say, well, how do you have the finances of your center be so good? You have your people be good. You don't worry about the balance sheet. You focus on the people. As you thrive, our center thrives. So it's my job to see you every day as thriving. And then those of you on my treatment list get extra mojo. Just more love and more clarity and all of that. But every day, we're always knowing every part of the center is thriving, it's healthy, it's getting better and better. There's happiness and joy, that we are doing great. And that is just a given, every day, every day, every day. And then I get that. My life is going great. I am thriving, I am prosperous, I am healthy, I am happy, because I see it all around me. It's in me. And the way I let it out is to see it to you, to give it to you. And in that giving to you, I get it. It's not that you give it back to me. It's not tit for tat. I get it in the giving. I get it in the giving. Yes.
So if you want to experience joy, do you say, I see joy in you and you and you and you and you and that?
Sure, or just feel joy. I'm so happy. One of my mantras, I'm so happy and grateful. Now that, just pick something. Now that the sun is up, now that the breeze is cool, now that the sun has come out and warmed everything up a little bit. I'm just so happy and grateful to see you, Morgan. You look so great. It's so wonderful to be with you. I'm so happy and grateful. I get joy. And one of my techniques is by giving it out, but I don't have to give it out. I can simply look in the mirror and see myself and see how wonderful and prosperous and healthy and thriving and successful I am. I just like to do it with you. It feels bigger and it feels happier to give it to you. But I can do it with myself. Yeah, just what you're doing is you're just opening up a way to let it come out. And a lot of people think they've got to bring it in. They've got to attract it. They've got to manifest it. No, you've already got it. You've already got it. What you're doing is letting it out. And I think that a lot of people are afraid of being that happy, of being that joy-filled, of being that loving and loved, of being, just having everything going that great. Drew? Right. Right, our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate. Yes, it's our light. It's that we are something beyond measure. He's quoting Marianne Williamson, powerful beyond measure. Marianne Williamson. Robert.
What is the fine line there between internal and external?
There is none.
Well, if I want to create an automobile,
Uh-huh.
I sit at home and meditate down the driveway.
You can do that if you're that clear.
Yeah.
I find it helpful to go sit in automobiles, drive
I think
automobiles.
that's the external life. You're out there in the outer world.
Right, but there is no difference. I'm doing that so that I get a clearer mental equivalent of that automobile and me in it.
That's how it makes you feel when you're in it.
Right, but you can sit on your couch. If you're that clear, you can sit there and you can have things manifest. I had a student many, many years ago, I think it was in Practitioner 1 class, and she wanted to be in a relationship with someone, and she didn't have a lot of time. She had kids and all of that, and so she did. She sat in her couch and treated that she had a relationship, and the guy next door came over one day and knocked on her door and said something about the yards or something, and they ended up getting married. So if you're that clear, you can bring something into your experience without, the phrase is treat and move your feet, but you don't have to move your feet. The only reason you move your feet is so that you're clearer inside of yourself. So you know how it smells, how it sounds, what it looks like, what your choices are. Well, there's this one here and there's that one there, and which one do I want? And the whole time you're moving more and more into a reality that you've got that new car, if that's what you're talking about. So you're doing on the outside only to clarify on the inside. It always comes from the inside. But if you're crystal clear, you can have it show up just like that.
Yeah, I did that. I had a car and I knew the color. That's all I knew about the car. And then a friend of mine offered to go take me car shopping because I'm no fit. And I had the same car for 15 years and it was falling apart. Axles were breaking.
Shorten the story, Jane.
So that's the end of the story, is that we went to one Berkeley and cooked, and they didn't have any. And then we went to one more.
And there was your car.
There was my car.
great.
Weird color, and there it was. That was just.
It is, it's a beautiful color. Yes, yes. Edwin Gaines tells a story about a guy who wanted a piano. And he didn't have a piano, didn't know where a piano was gonna come from, but he laid out this cloth, he made room in his living room where a piano would fit, laid out a cloth, had music books and a candle and things that he would put on his piano, and he would sit there and he would imagine himself playing his piano. His aunt called him and said she was moving and she had a piano and she didn't have any room for it, and she knew that he used to play. Did he want the piano? So he did nothing on the outside, and then she had the movers deliver the piano. He just sat there and did all of his work within, and it showed up. If that's not working, do something. You know, go look at pianos, go do something else, whatever it takes for you to get your head wrapped around the idea that I have what I want. And I love that whole idea of what if? What if this really could happen? What if it wasn't impossible? What if it could be easy? What if there was an answer? What if there was a solution? What if I really could? Because that shifts your thinking. Get you out of that block, no way, it's never going to happen, to, well, what if? What if maybe it could possibly happen somehow, some way? All of a sudden you have a crack. And when you're in darkness and you crack it and the light comes in, it just takes a little crack. It doesn't take a whole lot to change everything. And once you have a crack, it's like having your foot in the door. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So yes, there is the outer and the inner, but they're really exactly the same thing. Any other questions before we close? Hello, Joe.
Hello.
How are you?
Maybe you already covered this, but I'm a little confused as to the argumentative and the realization. I know that you said you use the argumentative a lot, but I'm not clear about what the other one is.
That's because this class and you have not been taught treatment, but the realization form of treatment with whatever words feels like God is, I am, and so is. It feels like that. There's only one energy, one presence of spirit. That is what I am, and everything is fine. Everything is already worked out. I'm already healed. I'm already whole. Everything is in place. I'm already loved and supported. Whatever I need is here. It's not specific. It's not challenging. And you just go there.
So one is more distinct and the other one is more verbal?
Well, one is more like that. Oh, no, you don't. I'm not going to be ruled by you anymore. Oh, no, you better not. That's impossible and is going to get you in trouble, that kind of thing. And the other one is just embracing the idea that says, it's all one. I am precious and loved. I am light, and everything is fine. That's where you go in treatment. And you use different steps and different words and things, but that's where you're trying to get to. So if you can just go there, it's like, I am so happy and loved and blessed. You don't need Tom Brady. You're happy and loved and blessed. And then whatever is in alignment with that's going to show up in your life. Because it always starts from within and shows up on the without. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Good. This is only your second class. That's a good question. Yeah. David, and then
I
we can
use the
close.
argumentative treatment when I want to logically prove that I can have, like the reflection law will bring me this. And I use that as sort of a logical conclusion to what I want.
Right.
Where the realization is one I do without writing it down.
Well, I recommend the realization treatment first. And if you can't get there, start analyzing what your blocks are. But if you can go there, just go there. God, can you imagine if you just lived there? That's wonderful.
It irritates some people though. It irritates them.
That's their irritation.
I know, but it's just
Yes. Right,
oh, I get it.
right. Take out what you're gonna give. Thank you for your support of this center. Thank you for knowing that as you give, you receive. That spiritual law takes that gift, multiplies it, and gives it back to you. Thank you for standing clear in your faith that you are abundant and you are blessed. Thank you for being willing to prosper, to be willing to grow, to be willing to thrive, to be willing to have your life get better and better and better. Thank you for your willingness to tolerate more and more joy and love in your life. It's a good thing. And so I know that whatever it is that is being given is blessed right here and right now. I know that as we give, we receive, and the entire universe comes together in concert and harmony to bless us back. I know that this money, whatever it is, goes, yes, into the center's bank account to pay the bills, but there is an energy, there is a love and a joy that touches everybody, whether it's bankers or whether it's people who are selling things or wherever it goes. It takes that bit of love and joy and clarity with it to make the world a better place. I know that each one of us comes together this night to make this center all that it was ever meant to be. It is a place of peace, a beacon of light, a tower of strength, and a fountain of wisdom that touches the lives of all who call it home. And so it is. So it is. If you're going to talk about how rich you are. Talk about how there's money flying through the air. Talk about how much God loves to give to you. How your big God is bigger than any of your problems. How there's always more than enough. Talk about how the entire universe comes together in concert and harmony to lift you high above anything that may want you small. That you stand clear and tall in this life as a being of light and a being of love, here to make manifest the glory of God, that your power is mighty and your consciousness clear. Your heart is open and all is well. All is well. We are abundant beings living in an abundant universe. And I claim that abundance for each of us now. I know that everything in these baskets is blessed. That each of us is blessed in our giving. That life loves to give back to us. That energy that we are comes forth with our gift. I see it like a golden light pouring forth from each of us, filling up this room from the floor to the ceiling and all between the walls. This air is rich and blessed with God as us. It touches each and every one of us. It blesses us. It heals us. It goes on out around the world to touch and bless and heal every being on this planet, and then it shoots out into the heavens, carrying that energy, always here and always now. And so it is.
Welcome back, everybody. Great class, right? Well, I knew it would be. And I'm sure that you've got plenty to think about and add to your life from the teachings that Barbara offers in the Science of Mind. So have a fantastic evening and week, and we'll see you again really soon. Thanks a lot. Bye now.